Turning now to your community focus, the National Lieutenant Governors Association Federal-State Relations meeting was in D.C. last week, and our very own Lieutenant Governor Sabina Matos was there. She joins us now live via Zoom to talk about that and more. Lieutenant Governor, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you, Kim. Glad to be here with you.
So you shared on Twitter that you met with Vice President Kamala Harris, and it looks like you had a one-on-one breakfast meeting with Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. So I'm curious, when you had their ears, what did you tell them that the federal government can do to help Rhode Islanders most right now?
Thank you. It was very exciting to have the opportunity to meet the lieutenant governors. We met with the Vice President Harris, and she talked to us about the areas that she's prioritizing right now from her office. She's doing so much work, but she's very interested in the area of broadband. Maternal health is part of the priorities that she's working on right now. When it comes to my gathering with Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, it was good for me to reconnect with him. Him and I were part of the same Rhode class of the 2014. And I was able to have a conversation with him about Rhode Island and what Rhode Island is doing right now, how we are ahead of schedule on most of our construction. I was able to talk to him about the areas that are of interest to his office. His office is looking for prioritizing to reconnect communities that have been divided because of highways or train. So one of the priorities that they have is to bring equity to neighborhoods that have been separated due to highways. Also, the priorities is working to make sure that our country is resilient when it comes to climate change, and also how that is affecting transportation. So I was able to share with him about the challenges that we're having right now in Rhode Island, about Newport and the cliff walk and the challenge that we have that the city of Newport is going through right now, trying to find funding to make the necessary repairs. This is something that piques his interest because he has a connection to Rhode Island and to Newport. He used to be in the naval base there in Newport. So I was able to bring to his attention some of the work that we're doing here in Rhode Island. And of course, I took the opportunity to invite him to come over to Rhode Island. And I'm looking forward to see him here in Rhode Island soon.
Lieutenant Governor, you also moderated a panel on homelessness and housing development, and we've been reporting on 12 News about a lack of locations to house people in Rhode Island who are experiencing homelessness. Did any concrete solutions come out of that panel?
So that panel was very interesting because one of the things that I've been speaking out about is the definition of homelessness and how we're not able to tap into resources that are allocated to assist homelessness soon enough so we can prevent people from becoming homeless. So this panel, we were able to learn about the possibilities that we don't hear that much here when we're working with different agencies, that if someone is in the verge to become homeless and you know that within 2 weeks they become homeless, they could qualify for more resources through HUD in order to prevent those individuals from becoming homeless. So this is something that my office is going to be exploring more and making sure that we can apply that definition here more often.
I want to switch gears a little bit. One of your opponents in the lieutenant governor's race, Republican John Lugo, issued a statement late last month calling you out for what he says is your silence over the FBI probe into the ILO group contract. He says, quote, "Silence is compliance." I don't believe you've commented publicly on this latest development, the FBI investigation. Forgive me if I'm wrong and correct me if I'm wrong, but what is your reaction to hearing that there is now a federal investigation into something that the McKee-Matos administration signed off on?
So I have to say that something that he should know, and we all should know, is that we shouldn't be commenting in an ongoing investigation. We should let the investigation take its course and hold our comments until we find out what the result is. And this is something that I believe my opponent should be well aware of.
And, I'm not asking you to comment on any specifics here, but when you hear generally that the FBI is investigating something that went on in the State House under your watch, essentially. Does that give you pause?
You have to say that any time when you hear that there's an investigation, we should all be concerned. At the same time, I don't want to jump ahead to conclusions. This investigation could conclude that nothing wrong happened. And in the meantime, when we continue to make comments, we are just trying to decide for ourselves what the final result is. I'd rather wait, let the investigation continue, let the FBI do its work, and rather wait and hear what is the result of the investigation.
And Lieutenant Governor, less than 30 seconds here. I mentioned one of your opponents in the Lieutenant Governor's race. There's also another Republican, Paul Pence, 2 Democrats running, State Senator Cynthia Mendes, and as of this morning, State Rep Deborah Giro. You previously told my colleague Steph Machado that you'd likely announce mid-March. It's now April. When do you expect to kick off your campaign officially?
I'm going to be announcing my campaign kickoff very soon. It's coming up. It's going to be in this month, so it's happening soon.
Okay, Lieutenant Governor Sabina Matos, we will stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you, Kim.
And looking ahead now to tomorrow, when former Secretary of State Matt Brown will be joining us live in studio to talk about why he wants to be Rhode Island's next governor. That's coming up tomorrow right here at 4.